Good evening, everyone, and I welcome all of you to this webinar on hashtag galtisudhar. Uh, this is the fourth Saturday, 4 p.m. webinar for the month of August, brought to you by Burlington English. And we have no one else but Dr. Swati Popat Vats taking this session. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of those moments where we'll be like, oh, this is what we all do, and oh, this is a galti, and we are going to have a lot of learning. The first opportunity for galti sudhar I'm giving to the late comers, so I'm just going to wait for 1 minute. So we are not going to start, or rather 2 minutes. We're not going to start sharp at 4, but at 2 minutes past 4, just to give an opportunity to all the late joiners so that they don't miss out, because today's webinar is very important. All right, so we know the house rules. If you have any question, please do not raise your hands. If you want to make a point, use the chat section. To respond to Dr. Swati's comments or questions, respond in the chat section. If you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A section of the Zoom panel, and we will take up those questions at the end of the webinar. And now, without any further ado, let me welcome Dr. Swati Popat Vats to this session once again and hand over the proceedings to her. So, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Lena. And it's always a pleasure to be there on the fourth Saturday of the month at 4 p.m. And that just makes me feel, oh my God, August is also over. You know, just last fourth Saturday we were here together, and time seems to be flying. And I'm very happy because Burlington is almost ready with their early years set, and I'm sure all of you will soon be knowing about it. But it's very exciting when any good product comes in early childhood education. So I'm also waiting to see the Burlington early years sets. Today's session is basically for early childhood teachers, parents, curriculum developers, anybody who's into content when it comes to early childhood education. The problem with early childhood education is that we don't have any written guidelines that guide us as teachers or curriculum developers what is right or wrong for children. We rarely are able to understand the early childhood theories from which these points actually come across. So today's session is to help you identify what are these things that you should look for in children's books, worksheets, toys, and how are they tied to Piaget's cognitive development, Bruner's cognitive learning, and how are they tied to SQ. So what is all this? Let's have a look of that in our workshop today. And as usual, thank you so much, Lena, for helping me with the PowerPoint. So Lena is going to help me take care of my PowerPoint. And we are going to look at actual samples and understand what it means. So the topic of today's session is how to achieve EQ, SQ plus IQ. So what is EQ? What is SQ? What is IQ? Let's have a look at that. Next, please. So this is actually called whole intelligence. So the different types of intelligence basically are IQ, EQ, SQ, and AQ. What are they? IQ, everybody knows, intelligent quotient. EQ, most people nowadays know, is emotional quotient. AQ is adaptability quotient. And that is what actually helped us during the pandemic. A, to adapt to the new rules of the pandemic, and B, to adapt our knowledge of education to the needs of the pandemic. And S is your social quotient. SQ is your social quotient, which means how well do you understand other people? How well do you understand how to talk, put your points across, understand their needs? When you put all these together, the IQ, the EQ, the AQ, the SQ, then you are a successful learner for life. Now, why are we talking about this when it comes to galtisudhar? Galtisudhar is a word that I came up with, a hashtag which I came up with when I saw so many mistakes, errors, um, kind of, loopholes in what we are presenting to children, sometimes unconsciously and sometimes without thinking. So let's see the next slide. So, do you know about DAP? DAP means DAP, developmentally appropriate practice. So, this is a word that was made famous by the NAEYC. So, the NAEYC is the National Association for the Education of Young Children. It is the largest body in United States of America, and it looks after quality education and research. And they really made this term very famous across the globe, that when we talk about early childhood education, it should be developmentally appropriate. Now, what does that mean? It means it has to be age appropriate, which means if you're trying to teach something to a child, "हाँ, चलो ये curriculum में डाल देते हैं," you have to think, will a 4-year-old be able to do this? Will a 5-year-old be able to understand this? So you can't just put it there because Pinterest pe dekha, acha laga. You can't do that. Stage. At what stage of development is the child in? If the child is just learning to walk or has just learned to talk, is that activity of yours supporting that stage? That is very important. Culture and language. I know that we like a lot of things that we see on the net, but will it be suitable for our country, our culture? Is a question that educators need to ask. Language. Is that going to be a problem with children if I'm only going to talk about it in English? Cognitive understanding. How do I make it simpler for children? Do I make it baby talk or do I make it understandable? Then your social understanding and your emotional understanding. Is this going to in some way harm the children's understanding of social norms? So all this, when you consider and then select a worksheet or a book or a toy, then it can be said that you are practicing developmentally appropriate practice, and which is a must. And it's also a part of the NEP and the NCF 2022. Let's go to the next slide. So, first, let's understand Piaget. Every time in my workshops, I use his name. His full name is Jean Piaget. And by this, you must have understood that my French is very bad. I'm sure those whose French is good will say Jean Piaget, something like that. But he's from France, and not only in France, it was in Swiss, etc. So he developed the cognitive development theory, which means the stages of cognitive development. How do children learn, and what are the stages? So if you look at the visual in front of you, he had 4 stages of cognitive development. What were these 4 stages? Birth to 2 years of age is called the sensory motor stage. The word itself tells you sensory motor, senses motor, which means from 0 to 2 years, children need stimulation with their senses and they want to move, which means they like things which move and they want to move. So it's a very simple concept that he developed. Now, if you have a daycare and you are looking after children in the age group of 0 to 2, you should know what interests these children. What should I buy? What should I look for? 2 to 7 years of age, he called it the pre-operational stage. Now, the operation he was talking about was not a surgery. Operations means when you are starting to do learning operations like addition, subtraction. These are called operations. Okay. So he called this the pre-operational stage. And in this stage, he said that children use their mental ability to understand events and objects. They learn to use symbols, which means this is the right age for you to introduce letters and numbers. They learn to use gestures. They understand that if you say this, how much does it mean? So they know that gestures mean something. They are able to communicate, and most importantly, they are also, that's why, able to do a little bit of logical reasoning. They will ask you questions. They will ask you why. They will ask you why not, because they are trying to put two and two together. So, in a simple form, I'm trying to teach you Piaget. Of course, we can always have a very detailed workshop on it, because Piaget is not only about these four stages, it's about schemas of learning, it's about assimilation, accommodation, lots more. Piaget is something I feel, if as a teacher you've not understood, you will never reach that level of being an expert teacher. So, please do read up on it. Next. And then, if you are studying Jerome Brun, Piaget, you must also look at Jerome Bruner, because he also developed a cognitive learning theory. And his theory has been used a lot when we talk about concrete, pictorial, abstract. Okay, that is Jerome Bruner. He brought this theory and he made it famous. So it is very, very important that he talked about three stages: the inactive stage, which is 0 to 3, then the iconic stage, which is 3 to 6, and the symbolic stage, which is 7 onwards. Now, what he talked about was that make things concrete whenever you are introducing a topic. So, this is not only for early years, for any age group that you're trying to teach. I was watching some physics videos. There is a physics sir who's very viral, and I love physics. So, I was watching his videos, and every topic he started with a game for his children. He's there on Instagram. I think he's called Physics Sir or something like that. Every topic he said, this is a balloon, there is a balloon inside it, how will you break it? And then he starts the topic and he says, now how this, what do you think this physics term is? So he always starts with concrete. Now who is he teaching? He's teaching 12th standard students, but he still understood that go from concrete to pictorial and then abstract. And that is something we sometimes forget. So, in my workshop today, three things are involved when I am telling you that something is wrong. Number one, the first slide which we saw: emotional quotient, social quotient, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient. Is the content harming any of these quotients? Number two, Piaget. Is the content not up to the mark for cognitive development? Number three, are you breaking the rule of Jerome Bruner and starting abstract first and then going to pictorial and no concrete at all? So let's see the next slide. So we make bloopers, instead of calling them errors, mistakes, I call them bloopers, because we do, oh my God, what happened? Bloopers. We make bloopers in our curriculum, in our songs, in our stories, in our worksheets, in the toys we select, in our events, in our annual concert. And then we say, चिल्ड्रन ना सीखते नहीं है, मैनर्स नहीं है, उनको पता नहीं है, they lack empathy, they are not able to understand. But have we ever thought about the relationship between our complaints about children and what we are actually exposing them to? Let's think about it. Next slide. So let's start with the first one. Today also I identified it for one school and I immediately sent them a message. They were doing a leaf printing activity. Looks nice, very nice. Chalo leaf lete hain, print karte hain. My question to educators is, what's your goal? When you want to do leaf printing, what's your goal? Your goal is to teach a child about a leaf and the uses of a leaf. Then leaves are not used for painting. Okay. Number two, you want to show them the shape and size, then take a magnifying glass. That would be a better activity. लीफ प्रिंटिंग क्यों कर रहे हो? क्योंकि वो उसको लीफ को आप पेंट में डाल रहे हो, then you are pressing it and then you are throwing away that leaf. What are you teaching children with this activity? You are teaching them that it is environment is for my pleasure. And then on environment day you will say chalo dunya bachao, save the environment. Conflict. See the conflict you've created in children's mind. So look at this slide in front of you. It talks about something similar. It talks about food. We give food activities to children for art. For example, bhindi printing, okay, broccoli printing. Let's take macaroni and make necklaces out of it. Aren't you giving conflicting ideas to this age group? This age group where you're supposed to give them concrete ideas, you are telling them this is food, this is food for eating, don't waste food. That's what you teach them. And then the very next minute, you give them a vegetable in their hand and you tell them, now put it in the paint, not in your mouth. Put it in the paint, press it, and then throw it in the dustbin. See the contradiction? See how confusing it is for children? And then we talk about empathy. There are millions of children in this world who don't get food every day. And you are teaching these rich children in these rich schools that, oh, hamare liye to food is for painting, we can throw it. Where is empathy? Where is common sense? Why couldn't we do an art activity without wasting that food? Very important. You want to use food in your activities, you want children to get the sensory feeling of mashed potatoes, very good, but let them eat it then. Let's mash some potatoes, let's make some balls, cutlets, and let's eat it. Any food that gives you sensory experience will have to be eaten afterwards. Let's make a sandwich in the class and then let's eat it. You cannot use food for throwing away. You are teaching two wrong concepts to children. A, throw food, waste food. B, children in the world don't get food. That bindi that you used in your class for printing, even if you use 6 bindis, with those 6 bindis, one child can be fed. Think about it. Next. This is a common thing I've seen in books and worksheets and whatnot, toys everywhere. Capitalization. Every word is capitalized. Either it is there in full capitals or the first letter is capital. Rainbow doesn't have to be written with the first letter capital. Yes, days of the month, days of the week, months of the year have to be written with first letter capital. So if you're not going to follow these rules right from the beginning, children will then have to unlearn when they will actually have to learn these rules. So in the beginning only, expose children to correct words. Please be alert about capitalization. Next. Look at this. Everything is in all capitals. Please pick up any book in the world. It's never written in all capitals. Reading does not happen with all capitals. So do not do your labeling in your classrooms or your worksheets or your books or your storybooks in all capital. It's wrong. Next. Look at these toys. They look so lovely, right? Oh, wow, this is a nice body parts toy. Oh my God, look at that lovely toy for numbers. Excellent. And you will pick it up for your school. But without realizing that there are mistakes in this. Look at the errors. Everything is written in all capitals in both the toys. I would reject such toys because learning happens simultaneously in children. You can't tell a child's brain only look at the numbers, huh? Don't look at the all capital words there. Usko ignore karo, usko ignore karo. Learning doesn't happen like that. Reading, writing, identification, understanding, everything happens together. I would reject these toys. Go back to your school and see how many such toys do you have who look good but are actually not good for children. Reading is all wrong in this. Next. We just spoke about this activity: leaves, flowers, twigs. Let's teach children to love nature. You know, when I studied the Tewariki curriculum of the government of New Zealand, I loved one term that they have there. It's called belonging. We need to make children belong to nature. And when something belongs to us, we are protective of it. We don't have to be told to save it. I don't think children belong to nature because they think it's for frivolous activities. Fun. Nature is for fun. Nature is not for saving. And whenever I tell a school, please don't do leaf printing, it is not, I mean, I just told you, it's not serving any purpose. It's a senseless activity. Then they give me the excuse, nahi ma'am, we did not pluck leaves. हमने तो जो नीचे गिरे थे ना, those which were down, वो उठाए हैं हमने. So let's look at this argument also. When you are plucking leaves, you are actually plucking the lungs of a tree. I hope you know that the tree breathes through its leaves. So you took away a tree's lungs. Number two, fallen leaves are manure. They go back into the soil. They are manure. They are required for the mud. They are required for the earth. So both your arguments, hatao, galti, sudhar. Next one. This is another thing. We love to use hygiene products for painting. Somebody saw it on Pinterest one day and thought, aha, nice idea, very nice. Let's take earbuds and let's make children paint with it. But in the next class, let's tell children, earbuds are for cleaning your ears. What are earbuds for? And the child will say, for painting, because that's what you've taught the child. And then you'll say, no, ma'am, we are using old. Really? You're using reused, already used earbuds for painting? Is that hygienic? So, what are you teaching children? Conflict. Think Piaget, think Jerome Bruner. What are you causing in this child's mind? Conflict. Earbud is for painting, or earbud is a hygiene product. Toothbrush. Toothbrush is for painting, or toothbrush is for. As children get older, you may use a thrown toothbrush. First of all, I don't understand how can you use a used toothbrush to give to children for painting. Isn't that unhygienic? Oh my God. It's been used by somebody. Why would you want to give it to a child to do painting? Comb painting. Comb is for combing hair. How much of confusion you are causing in children's minds. And no wonder then they feel anything can be used for anything. So then they start putting things in their mouth because anything can be used for anything, ना. जो कान में डालते हैं उसे पेंट भी कर सकते हैं, तो जो कान में डालते हैं उसको मुंह में भी डाल सकते हैं. Because that's what you are teaching me. Think, friends. Galti, sudhar. Next. This really gets my goat. Double formation of letters. Look at what is in front of you. And I want you now to look at it like a 4-year-old. You are trying to teach this child the shape of number 2, right? So when you want to teach them the shape of number 2, what are the lines that are there in number 2? There is a curve, then there's a slant, and then there is a straight line, right? Look at this. How many lines can you see? Look at it from a 4-year-old's brain. Am I able to see only one curve and one slant and one straight line? Or am I able to see two curves and two slants and two straight lines and then two sudden other lines also on the side? You're confusing me. And why do schools give these kind of activities? They say it's fun. Friends, in numeracy, fine, you want to do numeracy with fun, but don't make numeracy into a joke. The whole idea is for child to learn the shape of the number. Everything cannot be fun. Okay, let me give this thing and now let me make the child stamp on it. If you want, you can color this double shape to make it thick. Let's see the next slide. See this? The one on the top is correct because I can still see only 3 lines. But the one at the bottom is incorrect because I can see so many lines. So very important. Now I want children to get all pictures that begin with letter A. So I will tell them all, okay, take the letter A pictures, cut them, and now let's stick them on letter A. So which letter A should I show them? The one on the top, the one that is red. And on that, children can paste the pictures. Because I don't want to confuse their visual discrimination skills by looking at so many lines which confuse me about writing the letter A. We have to be sensitive to the stage, the age. Remember, developmentally appropriate practice. Next. Proportion. My God. Some of the worksheets I correct have absolute no sense of proportion. Imagine putting this in front of a child. A ladybug who looks bigger than a sun. At a stage when children are learning about proportions, we are teaching them this by putting it in the worksheet. No checking. You don't believe me? See the next slide. Look at this worksheet. I got it from a school. And here again, the teacher had given that senseless coloring of letter E. And when I saw the children doing the worksheet, they started from the bottom, then they went on the top, then they did the side. So this coloring activity in no way helped the child understand the formation of letter E. And then look at the figures that she has drawn. The I is bigger than the elephant. I actually thought somebody is keeping an eye on her, and that's why the eye is very obsessive in her life. See, the eye is so large and the elephant is so small. At an age where children are understanding about proportions, size, you're teaching them big and small, and then you're giving them worksheets like this. Not done, friends. Galtisudhar. Next. So, many a times we see worksheets say cross out the ones that are wrong and tick the ones that are right. But I recently saw a worksheet that said tick the unhealthy foods and cross the healthy foods. So again, dichotomy. See, you are confusing children. If tick is supposed to be good, and that's why you put a tick on my work, and you put a cross on my work when it is wrong, then how can you ask me to put a cross on healthy food and put a tick on unhealthy food? And my question to all of you is, at an age when children are focused on one task at a time, again, Piaget, they can't see what Piaget says. He says, have you noticed very young children, when you tell them, is that your mummy? They'll say, yes. Oh, your mummy is my friend. They'll say, no, she's my mummy. Which means they can't understand that one thing can be two, that one thing can have two uses. They cannot understand that. And that's why I said hygiene, earbud, ear, cleaning. And now you're saying painting. No, I can't understand that. Piaget. Similarly, you want to give them a worksheet, identify the unhealthy foods. So when they will identify the unhealthy foods, they will naturally know which are the healthy foods, no? So why do you give them two instructions together? Identify, tick the unhealthy food and cross. Why do you give them these two? They've already done what you wanted them to do. Do not give them two instructions like this. It becomes complex for many of the children in your class. Remember, in your class of 4-year-olds, every child is not yet 4. Many of them have a 9-month difference. So the ones who are older are smarter, will be able to do. The ones who are younger will not be able to do two different tasks at a time. Focus on the worksheets and the instructions that we design. Next. Oh, this gets my goat every time I see this in the worksheet. And believe you me, I have seen it in worksheets of the topmost publication houses, schools in this country, where they say that which one is heavier or which one is softer. Oh my God, heavy and soft and light and are sensory concepts. You are expecting me as a child to look at a picture and feel its heaviness? Really? Jerome Bruner, concrete, first show me these objects and then make a worksheet of the same objects. That, remember, we just now held a watermelon and an apple. Which one was heavier? Now circle it in the worksheet. That's the way to do it. You can't ask children के आंखों से वे करो pictures को. How can that be possible? I saw this in a classroom once. The teacher said, circle the pictures which are soft. And I saw one child actually touching the pictures, because soft is a touch, no? He was touching the pictures to see isme se soft kaun sa hai, and he had a confused look on his face that all the pictures feel soft and smooth. Why is the teacher asking me to circle? Let's look at things from their point of view. Developmentally appropriate practice. Next. Oh, we are obsessed with handprints. I call them the pachak activities. We want to take handprint of a child, pachak, and then we tell the child, go wash your hands, sweetheart. And while the child is gone to wash his hands, we make this into a duck. And then the child comes back looking for his handprint, and we say, see, aapne duck banaya. And the child has this very, very bewildered expression. I've only made a handprint. Where's my handprint? Anything, any activity like a handprint or a footprint or a thumbprint, ensure that it is the child's activity. Don't do half the work on that activity just to please the parent and to decorate your class. Then we are not teachers. We are interior decorators, which we are not. Remember? Galtisudhar. Next. Oh, yes. Please don't take senseless activities from Google and Pinterest and all. Please use your teacher brain, your educator brain. Is this right for children? Is this age appropriate? Is this stage appropriate? Is this appropriate for my country? I know we are obsessed with Halloween. We are obsessed with Halloween in our country. And usually Halloween comes during Diwali time. And I've noticed schools do Halloween with skeletons and this and that and all. And there is Diwali celebration going on. So culturally insensitive you are trying to be. So in my schools, we've called it unhalloween, because parents are obsessed with this global Halloween contest. We say unhalloween. Unhalloween means we are going to use Halloween to help children overcome their fears of cockroaches, their fears of spiders. It's not going to be for skeleton liar. No. Halloween is a concept in their country. Halloween has nothing to do with our country. Halloween is part of Thanksgiving. Halloween is part of their culture. So, when you are adapting anything from another culture, see how you can adapt it without killing your own culture. That's very important. Next. Pirates. I don't know this obsession of schools and publishers. I must have written to so many publishers. Why do you have pirates? Why are you glorifying pirates? Please look at the definition of a pirate. He is a terrorist in the sea. And we make him into this lovable character, and thus teaching children that there can be lovable terrorists. A terrorist is a terrorist. There cannot be a good or bad terrorist. And pirates are sea terrorists. And they are there present even now. And think of yourself, if you were on a cruise ship and you were attacked by pirates, are you really going to think that pirate is a cute, lovable creature? Or is you are going to be terrorized for life? So we need to think about these objectifications that we do for children. A pirate is not a good person. So we cannot make him into a nice, lovable, fancy dress, maybe pirate bana hai. Can't do that. Next. Some of the schools do this. They have a pajama party in school. in the day, and children are told to wear pajamas. See the words that I'm speaking. It's in the day, children are told to wear pajamas, and it's a party. So these young children have just learned that there are different clothes for different occasions. In a party, I wear this, and at night, I wear this. And then the school sends them an invitation. It's a party, come in your pajamas. I'm confused. पार्टी में तो पार्टी ड्रेस पहनना होता है ना, पिजामा क्यों पहनने को बोल रहे हैं? और पिजामा तो रात को पहनना होता है ना, तो दिन में पहन के क्यों बुला रहे हैं? स्कूल में तो स्कूल ड्रेस पहनना होता है ना, पिजामा में क्यों बुला रहे हैं? See the amount of confusions. But we do it why? Because it's a fun activity. I saw it on Pinterest. I liked the activity. Early childhood is not about you and me. It's about the child. Let's think developmental appropriateness, Piaget, Bruner. Next. Okay, look at these toys. I actually saw these toys in a school, and then I guided them about it. The school was doing a topic on health food and junk food, and they had these toys. Of course, I then took the photographs from Amazon, but look at these toys. What are they promoting? I mean, I don't have to tell you, you are all intelligent. So that toy is trying to teach numbers, but with ice creams. And then you will tell the child, ice creams are junk food, pizza is a junk food. But you taught me in my play and games and counting and literacy with junk food. So you are confusing me. You are sending me very, very conflicting signals. Next. Uh, Recently, an educator asked me that when we do join the dots activity, ma'am, should we start the numbers from the left to the right or from the right to the left? So ideally, when children are just learning to read and write, you should do it from left to right. But when it comes to numbers, children should also be able to recognize numbers wherever they start from. A number can start from a top or from the bottom, from the left or from the right. So as children get older by senior KG, you can also give them join the dot activities that start from the right and move to the left. So just keep the age in mind and you'll be able to be sorted. Next. All these points which I've told you till now, they're all part of Piaget's cognitive development theory. And there are lovely videos available. See why I love Piaget. I know he's criticized, but show me any cognitive development theory which has come after Piaget. Okay, uh, he actually did experiments on children. And these videos of these experiments, just Google search Piaget's experiments with children and you will understand what I'm trying to say. I feel every teacher must see Piaget's experiments with children to understand all these points which I spoke to you about. These points are not mere dimag ki upaj. They are not, oh, Dr. Watts wants galtisudhar, so she has come out with this. No. Every point that I have highlighted in this webinar today is linked to cognitive development and how it harms cognitive development. Next. Look at this. This is something that I've noticed schools have started doing because they've started buying Montessori equipment, which is in colors. On the left is the new age Montessori equipment because we want everything in color. On the right is the original Montessori equipment. And this equipment actually teaches children about width, depth, size, etc. And she did not color this equipment because she did not want children to recognize the color and solve the activity. Look at the equipment on the left. The easiest concept for children's brains to understand, and one of the first concepts that they understand, is color. And then comes shape, size, depth, everything. So when I'm going to mix color and depth and width, my brain will first recognize color and try to do sorting with colors. So on the left, you see The child is not going to see whether the width is proper, whether the depth is proper. The child will pick up all the red and put it in the red. The child will pick up all, so child is doing color sorting and not doing width, depth, size sorting. But schools are buying this product without thinking about it because they want to show the parents, oh, our school is very colorful. Nahi, nahi, nahi. Let's not kill learning like this. Next. Rhymes. Recently the MP Tejasvi Surya in Parliament spoke about how we are an agricultural country and yet we teach children rain, rain, go away. I mean, look at the dichotomy. We are an agricultural country, we need rain. And we teach children in our classrooms rain, rain, go away. Why? Because the Britishers taught us that rhyme. Because they don't like rain. Because in their country, it rains every 5 minutes. So they don't like rain. So they sing rain, rain, go away. But is it culturally appropriate to our country? Think of Ringa Ringa Roses still being sung in schools. Ringa Ringa Roses was the song of the London plague. Plague. It's a death song. It talks about what happens to people when they get the plague and how they die. Hasha busha, we all fall down is people dying. It's so insensitive. It's like somebody making a nursery rhyme on our pandemic and saying, oxygen nahi mila, mar gaye, mar gaye. Imagine like that. It's so insensitive. But we still have schools singing rhymes like this. Why? Because we don't think. We just want to do it because it has always been done. We don't have intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, adaptability quotient. Next. Here are all rhymes. Early Childhood Association has changed all rhymes. You want Ringa Ringa Roses? We have the new version. Round and round the rose bush, we never pluck the roses. Halla, gulla, we love all the roses. See, आपको हर्षा भूषा ही चाहिए था ना, मैंने दिया हल्ला गुल्ला. So all the rhymes have been changed. Each and every one of them. Humpty Dumpty changed. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty did not have a fall. He knew how to be careful. He knew how to play. And that is why he's in one piece today. We've even changed Jack and Jill. Because if you are always going to tell children that Jack and Jill bhi gir gaya, Humpty Dumpty bhi gir gaya, why are all these people falling? They don't have to fall. Then it's okay if I fall also. No? Then why do you shout at me when I fall? So change these things. Adaptability quotient. Next. Okay, this is something that I'm waging a war against. And I want you all to please become part of this army. I mean, I want you to look at this worksheet. And there are two major errors here. पहले तो वो दो 11 देखो लिखा है double formation में. So how many lines is the child seeing? So that's wrong. Number two, by coloring 11 bees, how am I learning number 11? And let's think like a 3 and a 4-year-old. Okay, a 3 and a 4-year-old is given this worksheet with crayons. Ab color karo. Now look at the size of those bees. Okay, I will start coloring like a 4-year-old. By the time I reach the third bee, I am focused more on coloring than counting. I'm not counting. You think I'm counting. I'm not counting. I'm coloring. And then I hate the activity so much that the next time you give me a sheet like this, I don't want to do it. And I grow up hating maths because you gave these irrelevant activities to me, which has nothing to do with numeracy. But we love it. Publishing houses love it. They love it. Why? Pages pe pages print kar sakte hai na aisa. But has anybody thought of the child? Is this right for a child? Is this teaching the child anything? Let's think about it. Join the army. Join the army of galtisudhar. Next. I saw this in a classroom, and that's why I have faded out the teacher's face. but she was teaching children about shapes with these blocks. They have a hole in them. So I have a huge amount of empathy, and that's why I put myself into a child's shoes to see what the child is seeing. And now she's telling the child there are four sides to a square, but there is also a round in the middle. So what are you actually teaching the child? And then when I asked her, I said, why did you take these blocks? She said, I didn't have any other. Oh my God. So is that how teaching is going to be done now? Jo mila usse kar lo. No, no, no. This is too much galti. And then the other thing which we do, look at the one on the right. We give eyes and legs to letters and numbers. At a time when children are learning to recognize the shape of letters and numbers, you are confusing their mind that letter A, I have to write like this, and then I have to put legs also and eyes also. I'm just learning to draw. So I draw a person like that, but do I also have to draw a letter like that? Because in our search to make things nice and colorful in our classrooms, हम लोग कुछ भी करेंगे. So what? No, we have to think of the child. Two concepts together. Remember? Galti, sudhar. Next. Community helpers. Just yesterday, we checked a product, and one of my own team members in ECA said, Ma'am, everything is right. I said, there is some gender bias which I can see, because the electrician, the mason, the plumber, all are male. Why can't you put both male and female? Or why can't the mason be a male, the plumber can be a female, then the electrician can be a male? So why can't you have, both being seen? She said, ma'am, because they are always male only, no? Then how? I said, my God, if we are going to think like that, we will never be able to bring change in gender bias in our society. That means, as an educator, we feel that we shouldn't show females doing this work. No, your community helper charts and wherever you're showing community helpers should be gender neutral, so that I, as a child, as a girl child, aspire that I can also be that. And I don't look down as a boy on a girl doing a job like that. That is very important. And in annual concerts, I have seen this, where boys are dressed as doctors and girls are dressed as nurses. What did you teach these children? That boys will be doctors? Tum to nurse hi rahoge. Think. Families. The family has changed now. The family is no longer a mother, father, child, brother, sister. No, no, no. Families have changed. There are now single mother families, there are now single father families, there are now two mother families and two father families. But you are still showing the age old traditional. So aapki class mein, if there is a child sitting who, poor thing, whose father has passed away, and you are showing this family picture, how is it going to make that child feel? Where is our emotion quotient? Change the charts. See, Early Childhood Association has done it for you. Change the charts. Use them. They are available on our website. Download them. Next. And now I'm going to end this webinar with some very nice bloopers for you to know that they are actually a part of worksheets in schools. Next. Look at this worksheet. This is what I was trying to tell you. Look at the heading. It says circle the hot items and color the objects. Circle the hot items and color the objects. See how confusing for a child, huh? You're telling me to circle the hot items and circle who? Objects means what? All of them are objects. So I circle all of them. Now the child has actually colored the hot items. You saw how confused the child was. The child ended up coloring, but look at what the teacher did. The teacher gave him a stick and she gave him 2 stars. Has he done what the instruction said? So then why did you put that instruction? The child knew his hot items and he colored them. This is what I'm saying. Why do you want them to color this and circle that in the same worksheet? It's extremely confusing for children. And why do you think that you, as a teacher, have the authority to give stars like that, like a fairy? You can throw stars at children. Children are not five-star hotels that they need to be given stars. And that's why the NEP now talks about holistic progress card, no stars. Galti sudhar. Next. Oh my God, this one though, I almost fainted when I saw this worksheet. Uh, First, everything is written in all capitals, okay, which is wrong. Secondly, she's written pictorial assistance sheet. किसको प्लीज करने की ट्राई कर रही है ये? Pictorial assistance sheet. Parents also will not understand. Then she's writing what's missing. What's missing? Which means you have to guess what is missing in the worksheet, what I could have forgotten to draw in the worksheet, because she's not said which parts are missing. She's saying what's missing. Bas aise throw kiya. What's missing? And then she's saying, now she's shifted from all capitals to writing in a sentence case. Look at this teacher. Oh my God. Draw missing objects, not parts. She's written draw missing objects, which means the child has to guess which object the teacher forgot to draw. Now, I want you to look at this worksheet properly in front of you. This is the exact replica. It is not that the worksheet has been cut from below. She actually drew the dog like this. Now, where will the children draw the missing paws of the dog? Because the worksheet has ended. The paper has ended. So you want them to draw it on the desk? And please look at the cat, all of you. Which cat in which part of the world has buttons on its body? But we draw cats like that. And then she's labeled everything in all capitals: car, face, butterfly, clock. I mean, ridiculous. And we are very happy about these worksheets doing the rounds in our preschools. Next. This is my last worksheet. This worksheet actually made me cry. I was present when the teacher gave this worksheet. This was during those early days when I used to go to schools to supervise. And this worksheet was given by a teacher. And look at the activity that she's given, okay? Which is where I again tell you, okay, if you want to test something, test that skill. Why do you give something else? She says, match the capital letters to the small letters, okay? So if you wanted them to match the capital letters to the small letters, why do you give pictures? Why have you given pictures? You want the child to match the capital to the small. That's your task. That's your skill. Why have you given pictures? Now, if you have given pictures, fine, but let's look at what she's done. So she's given an astronaut for capital A, and the child goes to the next side and sees another astronaut for small a. And now the child understood, I have to look for matching pictures. Very easy worksheet. I have to look for matching pictures. So the child went to letter B. What do you see there? Many of you will say bird. It's a blind bird because she's forgotten to draw the eyes. So the child now is very happy state of mind and wants to find a bird in the second column. So the child goes up and down, can't find another bird. Why? Because now B is for birdhouse. So now the child says, okay, I don't have to search for matching. I have to search for pair. Okay, birdhouse, pair. So the child went to letter C and found a candy. Now the child thought pair means must be toothbrush, or what can be paired with a candy. The child went to the other row and she found that, oh, candy. C for candy. So it's again matching. So now it's not pairing. Look at what you are doing to a child's mind, huh? And you've only reached letter C. So now the child realized, oh, I have to match again. Okay. So I go to letter D where I see a dog. I have to find another dog, no? So I went to the other side. Where is the dog? There's no dog. And it was at this point that the children all got up and said, Teacher, teacher, D for? And she said, Dog house. But you said kennel. You said dog lives in a kennel. Why dog house? See how you confuse the child? And these are all 4 or 5-year-old children. Huh? Now you go to letter E. Now I am a child who's thoroughly confused. Matching karna hai ke pairing karna hai. So I go to the elephant and then I very fearfully go to the next column. I don't know what I'm going to find there. So with letter E, what I find confuses me as a child. What do you think that is? Is that an eye? अगर वो आंख है तो उसका ब्लैक कलर का वो पार्ट किधर है? What is that supposed to be? E for? And then the teacher said egg. So if it's an egg, why does it look like a half-made sun? Why does it have rays? Thoroughly confused. Many children wanted to give up this worksheet by now. Some said, okay, let's humor this teacher. F. They go to F. F, there is a frog. And then they go very, very fearfully to the other column. We found a frog. Thank God it's back to matching. But they didn't know what was waiting for them. They went to G. And G is for what? Look at the picture. You will say girl, right? But the girl, when you say girl, the girl has to be full, no? This is face. This is a face. This is not a girl. This is a face. Okay, fine. I accept your girl. So I go to the next column. Now, what do I find for girl? Guess what she has drawn for letter G? Any one of you want to put it in the chat box? What do you think she's drawn for letter G? Some say gown, some say girl dress. Somebody said garment. And that's what this teacher told me, that the G is for garment. And I said, have you ever taught this to the children? Garment, G for garment. And she said, no. And I said, oh my God. Such teachers should not only be removed from the classroom, but there should be a disclaimer tattooed on them. Don't ever let me make a worksheet. Because this is the torture that you have put children through. And this is, my friends, actually happening in your school also. Some of it, one of it. Become detectives and go and find in your school, are any of these kind of bloopers hiding in your school, going unnoticed in your school? Galti sudhar. Next. Now I'm going to just have fun with you all. Circle the smallest number. Look at the worksheet on the top. Circle the smallest number. So the child has circled. See what the child has circled? The child has circled the numbering. That's the smallest number the child could see. I would say that I would pat this child on the back. Next one. Write 5 words you can spell. What is this child written? 5 words you can spell. We have to be very careful about the wording of our worksheet. Otherwise, it will lead to such bloopers. Next one. Circle half the cherries. Circle half the cherries. The child has done it correctly. Next one. Cursive handwriting. Same bloopers going around in schools. We are reading in print, but we want me to write in cursive. Think about it. Next one. This is my favorite. And I won't rest till the entire country starts using 3-line books. We are all using red and blue line books right now, 4-line books. Okay. Look at how G is written in a red and blue line. The top three lines are used. Look at how small g is written in a three line. The bottom three lines are used. So when I go from a red and blue line to a single line, in a single line, there is a top line and a bottom line, right? So which of the two lines disappeared to make a single line? And you will say the top one, bottom, but look at the capital G and small g. I needed all of them to write. Now look at the middle. Look at that. That's the same size as a single line. But the only difference between the middle line and the line on the right is there is a dotted line in the center. So I am actually writing on a single line only, but I know that all small letters go below the dotted line and all hanging letters hang till the next dotted line. And now when I learn how to write the letters, the dotted line goes away, the line remains the same. It's like giving training wheels to a bicycle. You don't change the bicycle, you remove the wheels. That's it. This is what is required in our country if we really understand early childhood education. Next. And we never respect our map. I want you all to go around your school and have a look at the map that you have put up and the map that I'm showing you here. You will not notice the difference in a flash. But I want you to now focus your eyesight on the left hand side of the map, and you will see these small islands. And then on the right hand side of the map, you will again see a whole line of islands. We always show a map without the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Lakshadweep Islands. Think how the people sitting in those islands must be feeling every time you show a map of India without them. We need to be proud as a country that we are not only this map, we have islands on this side and we have islands and they are part of India. But we never teach children that this is India. We put up a map of India without those islands. Galtisudhar. And Independence Day recently went. Many of you must have celebrated it on the 14th of August because you want to enjoy the 15th of August. 14th of August, some other country became independent, not India. You cannot celebrate Independence Day, the most important day of your country, on any other day except the 15th. Next. I'm going to leave you with this slide because many of you will ask me, ma'am, how do we make the change? It's so difficult. Well, you did make the change, no? From dial phones to smartphones. You did, right? So look at how telephones have changed from 100 years ago. But look at the bottom visual and look at where education is. In 1921, also children were sitting in desks and chairs. And in 2021 or now 2024, they are still sitting like that only. So I'm going to leave you with the definition of fear. Forget everything and run, if that's what you want to do. That yes, this is common sense what she has spoken in the webinar, but I'm very afraid of making change, so let me run. Or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swati, for the wonderful session. There are so many enlightened moments of enlightenment. Oh, really? And sure, each one of us have gained has gained immensely from this session. We do have few questions. I know we have run out of this time, but would it be all right if we just take, because they're not much? Would it be all right if we
Sure.
take this? So the first one was probably afraid of asking this question, so they have renamed them as anonymous attendee. So this is a question from some Benam participant. So it's a cheeky one. Hi, the food given for creatives is a valid point. However, we are also teaching children not to waste paper, and still we are printing books, worksheets, or art. Should we do away with writing?
Oh, yeah, I would love to. I love this question. And we must always have such people who ask us these kind of questions. So, just because there are two rights doesn't mean that we don't rectify. I mean, just because there are two wrongs doesn't mean we don't rectify at least one of them. Paper, most schools, most publishers have now moved to recycled paper. Paper, there are lots of solutions available for that. Food, uh, children in the world need food and they're going hungry. And I don't think it's a good lesson in empathy for us to tell children waste food. So, what if many children in the world don't get food? So, I think that need is bigger for us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't save paper. We should, and that's why we should stop celebrating Environment Day and all this by making posters, because you're wasting paper.
The another question is, should we introduce lowercase letter first or lowercase uppercase together? This is from Momita ma'am.
So if you're showing a letter to a child, which means visual recognition, both should be shown together so that the child knows this, both of them mean A and both of them make the same sound. But when you are writing, start with small letters first, because children read in small font.
I think there's another question which is on the similar lines by Joseph sir, but it gets answered. That so we start nursery with small or capital letter, but I think you just answered, so we will skip that question. Uh, there's one question that is from Kamal, uh, ma'am or sir, I don't know because it goes both ways, this name. Could we say identify the unhealthy food and circle it?
Yeah, why not? Identify this, which means, whenever I use circle for these kind of activities, I say jail those foods, jail them, circle them, jail them, because they shouldn't come on our plate. So you can make it fun like that. Absolutely, you can do that.
Two teachers asked that where can they get the updated rhymes. So this is that you can get it from the ECA website, and even in the Burlington product, we have used the updated rhyme of Humpty Dumpty. So, but ECA website you get all the rhymes, so you can get it from there. Uh, Jasmine, ma'am, this is a very good question actually. She's first of all wishing you, ma'am. And she's asking that they are following NEP in their preschool, but few ask them why are they not following any foreign curriculum? Why NEP?
Yeah, we are a very gori chamdi obsessed country. You should be very proud. You should say that the NEP is an actual amalgamation of theories, practices from around the world, with the foundation of our Indian educational system, which is our traditional education. I'm not talking about Macaulay. I'm talking about what we had before Macaulay and the Britishers came in. So I think this, because I have compared, for your information, I have compared the education policies of 36 different countries. And I'm finding that the NEP and the NCF now come on par with any country in the world.
Arshia ma'am has asked that are there any successful alternative education models or practices that you believe we could adapt to enhance our current system?
No, I feel I always feel a combination works the best. In my schools also, I need use a combination. I use the best from Montessori, the best from Steiner, the best from Frobel, the best from Reggio Emilia. That works the best.
Okay. And now Pooja ma'am and Manisha ma'am have asked, is it important to write cursive in any curriculum, or which writing script is better to teach, MR or cursive?
MR, Marion Richardson, is always best to start off children with. So basically, it starts with print, and then you go to joined handwriting. So joined handwriting can be your MR font. As children grow older, say in standard grade 2 and grade 3, if you want to teach them cursive, that's your choice. But cursive is not something that children see these days. You don't see much of cursive around, neither in your billboards or labeling or anywhere. So I don't know. I feel cursive is redundant.
And Lavanya ma'am, who has posted her question twice, I think she really wants it to be answered. How to teach three-letter words to a child facing issues with sounds of letters?
Well, this workshop is not for
Yeah.
sounds or phonetics. We will do one later on if you want,
Yeah.
because it's a long answer, and I don't think it's suitable for today's webinar.
I think I shouldn't have taken up that question. I just got excited seeing her posting just more than once. But this one is a good one. And after that, I'm just going to take one more question because people are just keep on entering the questions. There are too many questions. I mean, our webinar was only of 60 minutes. This around is going to be like another 60 minutes. And then I'll pick up just one last. Richa ma'am, and there are a few more teachers who have asked in which age we should start writing exactly.
Okay, so things like addition, subtraction, writing are not age related, they are stage related. So when your child is able to do writing patterns, that child will be able to write. So we have a book called Miss Pencil and Her Team that gives you the gradation of activities before writing. So you have in young children, they start with doodling, then they go to scribbling. So I call them the four friends of writing: doodling, scribbling, coloring, drawing. Then comes writing patterns, and then writing. So even if your child is 3 year old and is able to do all the writing patterns, the child is ready. So it's a stage related thing. It's not age related.
Just a sec.
So if you will see Nipun, the Nipun document of literacy and numeracy, they have not mentioned any ages because of that. They have given you what kind of activities to do with children, what comes before, what comes after, what should children do before learning to write. And I've just come out with a book called Foundational Numeracy. Same thing I've done for that. What should children know before you teach the concept of numbers?
There are many specific questions, but we have to be very mindful of the fact, participants, that this is not a genie make a wish round. So,
Coffee vending machine, I call it. Answer question dalo, answer pao.
I'll just take the last question, which is people have checking where they can get this PPT. So I would like to tell everybody,
I've just put the website of Early Childhood Association.
yeah,
It's
and
www.eca-aper.org.
and I would like to inform the participants that you will receive your certificate of participation, and in that you'll also receive the link to this webinar. So it's not only about just getting the PPT; it always goes hand in hand with what is spoken with that PPT. So you can click on that link and watch the entire recording of the webinar and circulate it so that more and more people sudhar their galti. So we need to have more and more galti sudhar, and we will make mistakes, but we'll make new sets of mistakes, not these.
Exactly.
Thank you so
अभी
much.
अगर ये वाली मिस्टेक्स कोई स्कूल में देखी मैंने तो आई विल सर्कल यू.
Jail, jail, jail. uh, thank you so much, Dr. Swati, for this wonderful session.
Bye
And
everybody.
bye bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.